Hey, how's it going everyone? I'm Jakejames Lugo and welcome to the channel. So today we got the red going on because we're talking about the Shantae series, which I still feel many of you out there are really sleeping on this and you really shouldn't be. But either way, we're gonna find out if this is still true with the latest in the Shantae series for the Nintendo Switch. Big shoutouts to WayForward, by the way, for sending me a copy of the game to review for you guys in this video. So let's find out what's really good with Shantae and the Seven Sirens for Nintendo Switch. Shantae and the Seven Sirens is the fifth game in the Shantae series, developed by WayForward. It's the direct sequel to Shantae Half Genie Hero and picks up right where that game left off. Apparently, this game is also a big throwback to the first three games of the series, but I personally don't have the full context of those games to see that. I only recently got into the series after playing Shantae and the Pirate's Curse and reviewing Half Genie Hero on this channel. Since then, I felt that the Shantae series is vastly underrated and overlooked by so many people, undeservingly so. But forgetting about that, what's happening in the story here? Shantae and her friends Bolo and Sky take a vacation with her uncle to Paradise Island to celebrate the Half Genie Festival. While there, Shantae meets a group of fellow Half Genies from various locations around the world and decides to join them for a performance to open up the festival. But as the group begins their performance, the lights go out and all the Half Genies are kidnapped, while Shantae is left behind. After recovering for a bit, Shantae decides to explore the island and search for the missing Half Genies. She eventually runs into her old nemesis Risky Boots, and learns that her group was taken by the mysterious rulers of the island, the Seven Sirens. Using her transformation magic and the help from a few new and old friends, Shantae needs to rescue the other Half Genies and defeat the Seven Sirens before they complete their diabolical plans. Overall, the story is a very cute tale that is both cheesy and lighthearted, but definitely creative with its humor and bigger moments. All of Paradise Island looks colorful and is beautifully rendered with detailed backgrounds. In between all of the action, you get different anime-style cutscenes that look great and show the Half Genie heroine in her best light yet. Now, I've said this about the previous Shantae games that I've looked at in the past. I really dig the lighthearted nature and the colorfulness of this entire world, again, specifically in Seven Sirens. And I feel like this is a reason why so many people just automatically dismiss these games, and that's such a shame to me. I mean, if you look at Shantae as a character, she's got a very bubbly personality, she's very feminine, but she also is still a heroine. She still is assertive enough to actually go out and seek all the different Half Genies that were kidnapped, while everybody else around her is like, no, let's not do this, let's just go on vacation, stuff. And there's not enough credit given to this game or just given to this series for little things like that. I also have to give a lot of props just for the overall design of the characters, between the secondary characters besides Shantae, as well as all the enemies and the boss characters you run into. This is some really good stuff, and more people really need to get more attention on this game, or just this series as a whole. There's a lot of great things that are happening with it. And speaking of which, one thing I do want to touch on really briefly is the music of Shantae and the Seven Sirens, because I love the music of the Shantae games, and I feel like there's some cool stuff to talk about with Seven Sirens. If you remember my review of Shantae Half Genie Hero, I praised the music of that game a lot. Seven Sirens takes a very different approach to the soundtrack this time, with a lot more music that has an 8-bit sound to it. A few people over on my Twitter mentioned how the music feels like it was influenced by Mega Man, and I could totally see that. Jake Kaufman did the music in Half Genie Hero, but he's not around this time. I won't lie, I prefer the more modern sounding music of Half Genie Hero over this game, but I still enjoy some of the tracks that we get in Seven Sirens. Out of everything in the game, my favorite music is from the laboratory stage where you fight the two-burn siren. It's the one that stood out the most to me from the entire soundtrack. Have a listen here real quick and let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I know that judging music is a very subjective thing. Everybody's gonna feel a little bit different about different types of sounds. And for me personally, I enjoy the sound of Half Genie Hero a little bit more so, or at least how that music was turned out and played out. However, I still appreciate what we got here in Seven Sirens with that 8-bit type of sound. It's just, again, it's a hard nod to the first three games. And for me, I don't really have the full context of those games. I've never really fully played through them. But still, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's bad music in here. It's still pretty good. It's just personal preference for me. That being said, let's talk about the thing I feel like is the best aspect of the Shantae series, and that's the gameplay. At least with Seven Sirens, what exactly are we doing in here? And trust me, There is some good stuff, guys. You really need to check this out. I'm telling you, you're sleeping on this. Everything you do in Shantae and the Seven Sirens is pretty much the same thing you do in all the other Shantae games. Jumping around to avoid obstacles, whipping enemies with your hair, using magical spells with your belly dance, and transforming into a variety of things with new abilities to help you explore. The overall challenge of the game is still on the easier side, with a big difficulty spike towards the end. It does feel like things are easy going for nearly 80% of the game until you hit that final location. That's when the platforming challenges and the enemies get a big shot of adrenaline and get much tougher. Not a terrible thing, but I would have preferred that the ramp up in difficulty be a little bit more spread out. Seven Sirens tries to change things up with Shantae's transformations being tied to specific abilities that you use regularly. In previous games, Shantae had to belly dance in order to transform. Seven Sirens, however, uses the dancing for spells that you gain from the other half genies. These are very useful in many ways. You can reveal hidden platforms and obstacles, heal yourself or something else nearby, electrify the area to power up machines, or even use an earthquake that changes the layout of the stage. I like how Shantae's transformations feel more natural to her character as you move around. Using a button to dash or swim in water as she changes form looks seamless and keeps the momentum going. Previous games made transformations feel special since you needed to belly dance beforehand to use them, but I think it works out much better this way. Now I will say that the boss fights in this game are pretty easy, but I do appreciate the creativity of all of them. Every siren that you encounter has their own gimmick and strategy for defeating it. Kinda like a Mega Man boss battle in some ways, and a Castlevania approach in others. You don't really get to know any of the sirens at all during the story, but their overall design and behavior tells a lot about them. The majority of these battles play out good, with a few of them feeling like they overdraw their welcome a little bit too long. Time for me to be just a little bit nitpicky here. Even though I love all the Metroidvania aspects of Seven Sirens, much like I do with all the other Shantae games, I feel like the one thing that stands out that does need improvement is the map. The reason being is because I feel like in certain points of the game throughout the story, you're kind of just left out there and dry to actually figure out what exactly you need to do and where you need to go. There aren't any hints or little points on the map that point out exactly where you need to revisit or what you need to actually go check out. Stuff like that I know is typical of the genre, but it would have been nice to at least give a few more hints to the player, especially with how easy this game, at least most of the game is pretty easy. That type of thing at least wouldn't have hurt to include. The other thing I feel like also needs a little bit of improvement, and maybe this is just indicative of how I played the game, are the upgrades and some of the extra stuff you can unlock as far as basic abilities, some of the transformations, and other stuff that Shantae can gain as you progress through the game. For me personally, I was able to get some of the bigger upgrades as far as the hair whipping damage and also the frequency that you could do it, instead of really focusing on the spells and some of the magic stuff you could do. For whatever reason, most of the game, I want to say a good half if not 3/4 of the game, I actually didn't use most of the spells you could actually use and unlock at the item shop or just upgrade them there. There are some cool spells and you would think they would be pretty useful, but you could actually just breeze through a good chunk of the game without ever touching those things whatsoever. Maybe if they would have utilized those spells against certain enemies to exploit certain weaknesses, that would have actually been pretty cool. However, for the majority of the game, I feel like you're just going to be whipping enemies with your hair, you're going to be using your belly dance powers, your transformations to get around, and not really so much of the other magical abilities you have access to. So let's talk about some of the bonus content in Shantae and the Seven Sirens. If you remember in the previous game, there was a lot of stuff there. There was also a lot of DLC that you got to mess around with, which was pretty cool. But is that really the same thing with Shantae and the Seven Sirens? Not really. Completing Shantae and the Seven Sirens at least once unlocks a few things. Depending on whether you finish the game with 100% completion or not, you can unlock New Game Plus and some bonus windscreen artwork in the Extras menu. I ended up finishing up the game in about 5 hours or so without getting 100%, so I'm pretty sure if you complete everything in there, then it wouldn't take that much longer. Playing through New Game Plus unlocks a new outfit for Shantae, which is a typical thing that you see for the series where every new mode gives Shantae a new look. I honestly like this because it's a little bit more than just the difficulty changes under the hood of the game. Outside of that, there's not many unlockables for you to obtain. What is a big shame, however, is how WayForward at the time of this review doesn't have any plans to release DLC, which I feel like is a missed opportunity. Shantae Half Genie Hero had a lot of great bonus content, including additional modes and alternate versions of Shantae to play through the main game with. I would love to see this done with Seven Sirens, maybe even have some of the other Half Genies playable in some form. But as is, you're getting pretty much a solid experience here regardless. It might be on the short side, but it's definitely sweet for just about anyone.
Schnoot?
I really think it's a big mistake not to include or at least plan out some DLC for Seven Sirens, at least down the line, because again, it worked out so good for a Half Genie hero and a lot of people really enjoyed that, especially with the Ultimate Edition of that game. I feel like you could have a lot of room to do stuff like that in Seven Sirens, whether it's playable versions of the other Half Genies, maybe another playable version of Risky Boots, or any of other Shantae's friends that are included in the game. There's stuff that you could do here, but maybe they're deciding not to do that because probably the previous game didn't do that well with sales. I don't know, but as a fan and as someone that has gone through the game at least once or twice at this point, I would appreciate something like that. I think it actually could work out for the better. So all in all, can I recommend that you guys check out Shantae and the Seven Sirens on Nintendo Switch? Yeah, this game is great. I highly recommend that you guys pick it up when you can. It's very colorful, it's lighthearted, there's a lot of great stuff going on for it. Even if you're someone not into Metroidvania games or really into the action platformer genre, this is a game I feel like that can ease you into those games and really help you to enjoy some of the better aspects of them. The character of Shantae I think is great, is a great female character that a lot of people should really pay attention to. As bubbly and as cutesy as it might be, there's a lot of other cool stuff and a lot of other great things I feel like a lot of you are really going to resonate with. You should definitely check out Shantae and the Seven Sirens, and you should check out the rest of the Shantae series on any platform whenever you can.
I love it! Sick! Hurry how you like it! I'll bring your rank. So long! Have a safe day! Thank you for everything! Goodbye! I'll miss you all!
And there you go, everyone. Those are my overall thoughts about Shantae and the Seven Sirens. Like I said before, this series is vastly underappreciated by so many people. You guys are really sleeping on Shantae, and you guys really need to check them out. Not just Seven Sirens, but all the previous games as well. I think that they're great. I think that they're awesome. And Seven Sirens is just another entry in that series that, again, adds more good stuff to it. Big shout out again to WayForward for sending me a copy of the game. But as always, with any game I review on this channel, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments section. Tell me, are you a fan of Shantae? Have you played any of the previous games? What are some of your other favorite, like, underappreciated series that people need to pay attention to? Let me know about that stuff down below in the comments section. Thanks for watching this video, everyone. Go ahead and click the boxes on the side to see more videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to go visit my Patreon page for exclusive gaming content that I know you'll really love. Hope you have a chill day. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.